Everyone, welcome to day 25, and here we are talking about the AWS tutorial, and specifically we are talking about the DevOps journey. What does that mean? That means we are talking about the AWS cloud, we are talking about the CI/CD, we are talking about the Kubernetes, we are talking about the Terraform, and we are talking about other tech stacks as well, which are the part of DevOps. In this particular video, we are going to talk about Amazon S3. That is your simple storage service. It's one of the AWS services provided for the storage. Correct. So let's get into the theory part of the Amazon S3, and then we will be talking about the demo part. We will see how to create the Amazon S3 bucket. So Amazon S3, it's simple storage service. As you can see from the point, simple storage service is an object storage service. This is the AWS service which stores the object. That means whatever the data will be stored in this bucket will be called as an object. It's offering industry leading scalability, data availability, security, and performance at the same time. Second point, million of customers of all sizes and industry stores. Now, whether you are a service-based organization, you are a product-based organization, or you have a different use case, either you are in the e-commerce, you are in the medical line, or you are in the metal industry or the food segment, all of them are using the S3 buckets for their storage, correct? It can be used for the data processing, it can be used for a large storage of large data, and protect any amount of data for virtually any use case such as data lakes, cloud native application, and mobile applications. Correct. The third point is with cost effective storage class and easy to use management features. Correct. The Amazon S3 provides you all the facility at a very low cost, which is provided by the AWS itself, and you can do the encryption, decryption, everything with the S3 bucket. You can organize the data, analyze the data, and configure fine-tuned access control to meet specific business and compliance requirements. That means you can protect all the data within the S3 buckets using the SCLs, using the S3 bucket policies, using the AWS IAM roles and policy. You can apply everything. You can do the encryption, you can do the versioning, and all these things to protect your data, to make security of the data. Correct. You can say even secure your data. All these kind of features you will get into the Amazon S3 buckets. S3 free tier offers a 12-month free trial that provides 5 GB of Amazon S3 storage in the S3 standard storage class, 20,000 git kind of request while you are developing your API. You might be developing your API for get calls, for the post call or put call or any other call, correct? So it provides you 20,000 get request, 2,000 put, copy, post or list request, and 100 GB of data transfer out each month. That means 100 GB of data can be sent outside every month. Moving to the next slide. In the next slide, we have talked about the feature of the Amazon S3 buckets, correct? As scalability, you can store virtually any amount of data with S3 all the way to exabytes with unmatched performance. S3 is fully elastic, automatically growing and shrinking as you add and remove data. There is no need to provision storage, and you pay only for what you use. That's basically the AWS cloud concept as well. You only pay for what you use, pay as you go model, correct? So Amazon S3 provides you the scalability feature. The second feature is durability and availability. S3 provides the most durable storage with 99.99% of your durability and 99.99% of availability by default. Security and data protection. S3 is secure, private, and encrypted by default, and also supports numerous auditing capability to monitor access required to your S3 resources. Correct. What you can do here, you can either put SCL access control layer, you can put S3 bucket policy, you can put IAM rules or the permissions kind of thing over here. So your data will be secured, and even while developing your S3 bucket, creating your S3 bucket, you can mention out of the configuration that either you want to make it public or you want to make it private, or you want to make your bucket public and the objects within that bucket private. So all those kind of configurations come on the AWS console. You can we will see that in the demo part. Talking about the price, that's the another point. Lowest price and high performance. So S3 delivers multiple storage classes. We will be talking about the different storage classes as well. S3 delivers multiple storage classes with the best price performance for any workload and automated data lifecycle management. Correct. So you can store massive amount of data and at the same time with the resiliency, flexibility, latency, and rarely access data in a cost efficient way. S3 delivers the resiliency. What does that mean? That means if you want to store the data which will be accessed very infrequently, then you can put it in the different storage class of the S3 bucket that we'll be talking about here, and that for that you will have to pay a very little amount of cost in comparison to the normal object storage, correct? Then another feature other than these four features, the fifth and sixth feature is versioning. S3 provides versioning to keep multiple versions of an object in the same bucket. That means today you have put a one object in your bucket. Tomorrow you do some modification into that object and you still save that object into the same bucket. So now it will be versioned with another numbers 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, different versions of the same object, which will allow you to restore objects that are accidentally deleted or overwritten. Anytime you want to take the backup, anytime you want to do the retrieval, so you can do that because S3 supports the versioning, correct? Then the sixth point is controlled access. Buckets and the objects in them are private and can only be accessed with explicitly granted access permissions. That's what we were talking about before. You can use bucket policy. This one you can use bucket policy. You can use AWS identity and access management (IAM) roles and policies. That's what we have talked earlier. S3 access points and access control list to manage access. So if you have not watched out the videos and you don't understand what is IAM and other steps, you can watch out the videos from the scratch on the channel itself, where we have talked about the AWS EC2 instance, we have talked about the AWS VPC, we have talked about the subnets, internet gateway, net gateway, your different CID IP address calculation based on the CI. We have talked about the launch template, auto scaling group, and other AWS services as well. Correct. Now let's move to the another slide where we have talked about the different storage class of the Amazon S3. The first storage class comes as S3 Intelligent Tiering. Second comes as S3 Standard. This is the default storage class, S3 Standard, correct. In this S3 Standard, your objects are stored, and it's the kind of normal or the default kind of storage where your objects will be stored. Now just suppose that you want to put some data as a archival, correct? You don't want to fetch that data every time, or you want to keep that data as a backup. So you will not be putting all those data in S3 Standard. Rather than that, you can move that data from S3 Standard to S3 Glacier Deep Archive. How this will be done? It will be done through the lifecycle rules, correct? So we will see that as well, lifecycle rules, replication rules, and all those things. So these are the different 8 to 9 kind of storage classes that is being provided from Amazon S3. S3 Intelligent Tiering, Standard Express One Zone, S3 Standard Infrequent Access, that is called as S3 Standard IA. Infrequent access, that means these objects will be put in the S3 bucket. That will be kind of your standard as well, but it will be infrequent access. In once in a month or two or twice in a month you are accessing this data, correct? So this kind of data will be put under the storage class S3 Standard Infrequent Access. If you want to put archival kind of data, you can choose this S3 Glacier Deep Archive. Why there are multiple storage classes? Because every storage class has their own features and their own associated cost. If you are putting it in the archival, it will be at a very low cost, while uh, your the S3 standard will be having a higher cost, correct? So this is all the storage classes provided in the S3 bucket. Now let's talk about the demo part here. What we will cover in this particular video about the demo, we will try to create an S3 bucket, and we will talk about the pre-signed URL as well, or we might talk about the replication and lifecycle rules. Let's see. So let's move to the AWS console here, and we will be creating one S3 bucket. How do you get into the AWS S3 service? For that you will have to search S3 here in the search bar of AWS console. Let's click on the S3, and here you go on the AWS S3 console. Here we will be clicking on the options, and we will click on the create bucket. So the meanwhile your console is being ready. Here there is no bucket as of now. You can click here, you can see the general purpose bucket, table buckets, access grant, access points, and other stuffs which are present here. Till now there is no what we can say, there is no bucket. That's why you cannot see any bucket over here. Now there is one point which needs to understand, that This Amazon S3 is a global service, while the AWS S3 buckets are region specific. What is the difference between these two? Every time you create one AWS S3 bucket, that bucket name should be unique. Why? Because the S3 service is a global service. So if you create one bucket with one name, you cannot create another bucket with the same name in any region. Correct? If you don't understand, let's do the demo. You will understand that part as well. So just remember or just try to understand this S3 global S3 service. Amazon S3 service is a region, not regional. It's a global service. While the bucket we will be creating, that will be regional one. So let's try to create one bucket as well. Let me call it as demo 11. You will see most probably this bucket should exist somewhere. So let's try creating this. So I'm just passing the general configuration AWS region. For this bucket will be Asia Pacific Mumbai AP South 1 because we are in the Mumbai region only. That's why it's AP South 1. Now let's pass the demo 11 as a bucket name and then go for the object ownership SCL disabled. So as of now I'm just doing the demo part, so I'm just going with the SCL disabled. If you want to create SCL enabled, you can do that. Object ownership, object writer, and all those stuffs you can do that. Here I'm going with the SCL disabled, that means bucket owner enforced. So the owner which is creating the bucket, that will be having the ownership of this bucket. Talking about the block public access setting for this bucket, there are four options. If I select the first one, block all public access, it's all public access will be blocked. That means your bucket is completely private. If I remove this and acknowledge over here that I acknowledge that the current settings might result in this bucket and the objects within becoming public. What does that mean? Block all public access. I have disabled this. That means see, this bucket has now been made as a public. It's not private anymore. But there are certain options you can select. Block public access to buckets and objects granted through new access control list. Correct? Or block public access to buckets and objects granted through any access control list. So if you provide any new SCL or the SCL any access control list, the access to the bucket will be blocked. Third option is block public access to bucket and object granted through new public bucket or access point policy. So there are a few options. I will go with this one, block all public access as a disable, so that we can do the demo. We will see that how you can create your public bucket. Here is the bucket versioning that we talked about here. The one of the feature of the bucket, the S3 bucket versioning, correct? That's the point here. Bucket versioning, either you want to enable or disable. For the demo purpose, I will go with the disable. If you want to keep the enable, you can do the enablement as well. If you want to pass any tag for this, you can pass the tag, or then you can do, if you want to create any bucket key or something, you can go with the default configuration or any your configuration according to your choice. Let's click on the create bucket. You will see the error over here. Why? Bucket with the same name already exists. What does that mean? That means this demo 11 bucket exists somewhere by someone in any region in any AWS account, correct? Because this Amazon S3 is a global service, that's why you are not able to create this bucket with the same name while there is no bucket. It's not the region specific, correct? You can see the description over here. Bucket name must be unique within the global namespace and follow the bucket name naming rules. So let me make it as unique. So let me put as man demo 11. Now this is unique. Let's click on the create bucket, and your bucket should be ready to launch. So your bucket is ready here. You can see there is no objects as of now. If you want to upload any bucket, you can create. If you want to upload any file over here, you can just click on the upload and you will be able to upload any files. Then there are permissions, there are permissions tab, then there are properties tab, and here in the properties tab, if you see static website hosting is there. In the next demo we will be talking about this static website hosting, pre-signed URL, and other stuffs, correct? You can see the event notifications option as well. So we will be enabling this event notification as well. And if you see the permission tab over here to create your bucket policy, then you see the matrix over here. If you start putting any objects into this, you will see all the bucket size, number of objects, and management console as well, lifecycle rule, replication rule. So in the next video we will be talking in depth about the S3 buckets, how to do the other parts like the pre-signed URL or how to do the static website hosting, replication rules, lifecycle rules. We will see that as well. And in the last, we will be talking about the few S3 related commands, the AWS CLI commands that will, with the help of that, we will be directly communicating with the S3 buckets from the CLI. So that's all in this particular video. We will meet in the next video. Till the time, thank you, bye bye, and stay tuned. Subscribe to the channel for more technical content. Thank you.